Hi, everybody. It is 11/23/2024. Hope you're all doing well. It's been unusual today. Idaho temperature. This morning, I wake up and it says it's 44. And my subscriber has a car that has the temperature in it. We get into the car, it says 34. We drive just about 20 minutes away, and it was friggin' freezing, incredibly windy. And this has been going on all day. And of course, you get it feels like, well, the 34 felt like 32. The 44 felt like 42. What is this feels like that they have been doing for the past, I don't know, 2 years? It feels like, oh, okay. So we all know the difference between a 2-degree temperature drop. Insane. So yeah, it's been cold. And hey, Max, and D Moore, and something to chew on, and the hypocrites matrix, and Douglas Hunt and Julie and Patricia White and Louisiana Skywatch. Okay, Jane Northrup, Step Down, hi, Rage Against the Machine, and James B. Angelos, hi, Andrew Cruz, L24, 2024, hi, thank you. Thank you for the links, much appreciated. And GeoFactor 3 and Analog Synth Player and Tony Punch. Yeah, I saw the Columbia flooding. So, woof. That's up. Rage Against the Machine. I saw that video as well. Yeah. Okay. So, radar. Oh, let me bring you guys in. Oh my God. The twirling. I don't know what the hell it was. Twirling precipitation that has been twirling for a couple of days is gone. Wow. And the atmospheric river seems to have been, well, it evaporated. But there's flooding, of course. And interesting how these news broadcasters talking about how the rain was steady and so much rain for 3 days. Well, I have shown you they holding that rain right over Northern California. 3 days. It did not go into Nevada. Well, this little tip here, this was yesterday. But as you can see, they just held it there to make sure that they were piling up an awful lot of rain for you guys in Northern California. And I'm sorry, but yeah, you have to begin to open your minds and start talking to people who actually have done the research for you. All you have to do is click on a video. My God, is that so hard? There are no severe weather alerts, as you can see. Okay. Oh, this world sure does keep you busy. Well, if you're interested in what's going on. California flood. Sonoma County waterways and rivers flood, causing damage. And the farms. And this here, it's a farm. Okay. Well, that's pretty much dead for quite a while, depending on how much silt is in the has been transported by all of this rain. I still think that they're bringing water up from the ground. Fish-friendly farming. Fish-friendly farming? Fish-friendly farming. I guess you just cast your hook out and boom, fish just jumps into the hook. Russian River flooding over its banks. Sonoma County resident recalls fleeing flooded home.
I'm gathering my belongings and I'm looking over at our driveway and the water is coming up so fast. And I look at my boyfriend, I'm like, we have to get out of here, like right now. This time it just came up so fast. It didn't give us much time to help other people.
Came up so fast.
So this was record-setting rainfall totals for 3 days here in Sonoma County.
Fire District Division Chief. You think he doesn't know about weather modification? You think he didn't look at radar at all to notice that they were holding that weather front right over the area that he's talking about?
That we have never seen this kind of thing in anybody's recorded experience, and certainly in my personal experience, this is by far the most rain in a short period of time that we've had.
I am really sick of listening to these people. Washington, at least 50 RVs and campers crushed by trees at Lake Stevens campground.
Folks here still don't know the full extent of the damage here. Now, we do know that here at this private campsite, about 50 campers and RVs have been seriously damaged, and the situation is still so dangerous that camp managers are not allowing folks back on the property, and that's frustrating folks who are desperate to know if their homes are still intact. After surviving the storm, Karen Foley's been living in her car and with friends for the past 3 days.
Well, it was horrible. I mean, I heard probably 6 trees fall around me.
Now, all she wants to do is go home, but she can't.
I can't get in. I just stopped over there and asked if I could walk in, and they said no.
The Lake Connor Park RV campground, where she and about 1,500 others live on and off, remains shut down. This is why.
It's like a war zone.
Video taken by a member of the private park shows just a fraction of the destruction.
Oh man, this is my cousin's. He just bought it like not even 6 months ago.
At least 50 RVs and campers crushed by more than 200 trees, some of them 200 feet tall and 5 feet across. Right now, no one's being let into the park, frustrating some who say they're not getting enough information from management.
We're just controlling the things that we can control.
Managers tell us it's a simple matter of safety because live wires are still down and trees remain unsteady.
It is very dangerous right now. So that's why we're not letting people go in.
Some living here say diseased trees should have been cut down to avoid such devastation. But a park forestry team member says 120 trees have been taken down since April.
We have probably another 100 tagged, but we got to the ones that we were most concerned about. But, you know, in a storm like this, you don't know what's going to come down.
Only about...
You should know at this point, trees are coming down all over the place. Everybody should know. Why are they so ignorant? England buried under snow. You got your own nor'easter, or, well, Ireland got flooded, so yeah. Oh, and yeah, very slippery. Can't seem to drive now when snow hits the pavement.
The Met Office has issued a yellow warning for ice after Cornwall experienced a day of disruption caused by significant snowfall. It also warned Storm Bert was set to bring heavy rain and strong winds to parts of both Devon and Cornwall at the weekend. The yellow warning for ice is in force for parts of Devon and Cornwall until 10 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time on Friday, with another alert for wind and rain in place on Saturday and Sunday. Cornwall Council's road firm Cormac said road surface temperatures were expected to fall below -0.4 C overnight, and gritters would be treating all precautionary routes until 3 o'clock on Friday. Devon and Cornwall police warn drivers to watch for abandoned cars and to only travel if it is absolutely necessary. The weather conditions also saw 200 schools close for the day. Devon County Council said 133 schools had closed or partially closed, while Cornwall Council confirmed 67 schools had either closed or partially closed.
It doesn't look like an awful lot of snow. Storm Bert. It was Storm Bert brought severe disruption to the UK and Ireland. Well, I hope the worst of the storm has come, but the pensioners who Stammer had reduced the amount of, or jacked up their taxes, I'm not sure which one, for their heating allowance. Okay. Well, people have to fight for one another. And I interrupt this broadcast to show you one more time Alaska Skywatcher. I hope that you click on the link, go over, subscribe, view his videos, circulate his videos, circulate them. He knows what he's talking about. Sudden stratospheric warming.
These things are not natural. What's up, Skywatchers? What is up indeed? They want you to feel that climate chaos. This is how they gain control of you, your property, your income, your whole future. Well, let's take a look at the Antarctica anomaly. This thing has happened again. What is this, 3 or 4 times now? I'm not sure. Do you still think this is natural? I don't think so. When we look at this Antarctica anomaly, I'm sure you can see on the screen over here, the way that it's a beam and it goes out and it gets wider. At the South Pole Station. They have weather warfare technology down there. I guess it's even bigger and more powerful than HAARP. I showed you where they broke up the polar vortex last December. Yeah, they used these ionospheric heaters, shot them up into stratosphere, because I remember that anomaly was at 85,000 feet, which puts it square in the stratosphere. Now, I'm sure you've all heard of sudden stratospheric warming, right? Well, what do you think causes that? It's not Mother Nature. These are ionospheric heaters. You know, the whole global warming narrative, fake, okay? I mean, climate change. You can watch as the progression of technology over the last 50 years, we can go back even further to the atomic bomb. When they set that off, it just flooded out California. And when you think about bombogenesis, just remember, there are explosions in the atmosphere. There is heating, man-made heating from facilities like HAARP taking place in the atmosphere. There are NEXRADs that talk to clouds and steer directed beams of energy into a storm. Now, why are all these storms exploding? Well, they're getting a sudden beam of energy. It messes with our minds, the electromagnetic radiation, the frequencies, they interfere with our body and our thinking and our overall health. So we really don't need these things. And without them, you know, the weather would be just fine, I bet, you know. But this is what we got. Why are all these 5G standing? Why are all these NEXT standing? 5G. Guys, we don't need this stuff. All I know is we don't need this shit, okay? We don't. You cover up that sun. I mean, anyone can see this everywhere. And I know you sky watchers, you guys are on the ball. You guys send me some incredible photos. When you cover up that sun, it creates a filter, okay? Now it's filtered. All the best parts of the sun are reflected back up and across the atmosphere, creating that blinding white light that we all hate. When the sunlight reaches us, the healthy parts are reflected out, it burns the hell out of my skin. I mean, it could be 60 degrees in direct sunlight and it feels like it's 105 degrees.
Yeah.
I believe UV, B, and C are reaching the ground. You filter out our sun, and that's life, guys. That's life. You filter that out and give us the poison, things are going to die. Behind the curtain, there is this wonderful life that is waiting for all of us. And the controllers know it, and they don't want you to have it. Stay aware, be prepared, keep looking up.
Yes, I actually think that the sun is so intensely hot now, and white, the filter, but it's the aluminum. That's my guess. We can speculate. There's so many different methods they use, so many different weapons they use. So the technology is quite diverse. But I think it's the aluminum. You know, when you think about the baby boomers, especially when we would go to the beach, noontime, high noon, that was when the sun was strongest and it was yellow. Remember? Yellow. Oh my God. And we would use tin foil, aluminum foil to reflect the sun back. So we would get more of the sun for, you know, the tan. So, all right, I'm going to link below again to Alaska Skywatch. I don't like the fact that this man who puts out good short videos doesn't get very many views. So we need to help him out. 3 hours ago, 145 views. All right. That's the support that we give one another by subscribing, by circulating, by clicking on the video. Let's get those numbers up. Colombia, massive flooding. Isn't it interesting? The everywhere in the world has pretty much the same kind of flooding. The force of the water is really, really intense. You don't just have a little bit of flooding from rain, right? Now every place is getting massive flooding, a whole lot of destruction with it. That needs to be questioned. That needs to be questioned. Look at this. So, yeah. And a whole lot of people will say, well, there's more people in the world and they're all driving cars and more cows because they're eating so much meat. And come on, there are less people in the world. Don't believe the horse shit that you hear. Virtually everything that you hear coming from mainstream media, especially, is a lie. United Nations, for years, have been talking about the global infertility crisis made worse by that new product in 2020. All the people who still go ahead and believe and accept all of the lies that they hear, because they can't even have an open mind to have adult conversation about perhaps it's something else. They're a danger to all of us. They are absolutely complicit with all of this destruction, and they are people that, yeah, because they can't have adult conversation, there's something terribly wrong with them. You know, they help create destruction. So that's Colombia. Now, you're gonna, well, I may have to read the captions here because it's so small. Well, let me see if I turn on the captions. Let's see what happens.
2. Doch nun zu einem anderen Thema. In Nürnberg klagt ein Pilot gegen seinen ehemaligen Arbeitgeber.
In Nuremberg, there is a pilot suing his former employer. Why?
Warum? Das weiß Anne Rothäuser.
Vor dem Amtsgericht Nürnberg wehrt sich der ehemalige Lufthansa.
A former Lufthansa employee pilot.
Mitarbeiter Christoph W. gegen seine Kündigung.
Ich bin Pilot geworden, weil ich es einfach lieb.
I became a pilot because he loves to fly.
Zu fliegen und nicht Menschen mit Chemie einzunebeln und
Not to cloud people with chemicals.
Ihr kritisches
Or
Denken
turn on their,
was mein Arbeitgeber von mir gefordert.
to turn on their critical thinking. What? Turn on their critical thinking. Let's go back a little. See, not to cloud people with chemicals and turn on their critical thinking.
Schalten. Was mein Arbeitgeber von mir gefordert hat, das war eindeutig rechtswidrig.
What my employer demanded of me was clearly illegal.
Und das meine ich mit.
Rückblick. Im Januar dieses Jahres war dem erfahrenen Piloten fristlos gekündigt worden.
The experienced pilot was terminated in January without notice.
Dafür war, dass W. bei einem Flug.
The reason for this was that that we
Flug von
were
Frankfurt
on a
nach
flight
Barcelona
from
nicht
Frankfurt
wie vorgeschrieben den Schalter
to Barcelona, and I didn't press the switch
zur Aktivierung des Chemtrail
to activate the chemtrail spraying
Sprühvorgangs betätigt hatte, sobald sich das Flugzeug auf
as required.
Reiseflughöhe befand. Und wie sich herausstellte, geschah dies nicht zum ersten Mal.
Ja, also zuerst habe ich
And it wasn't the first time that this happened. So at first I claimed
behauptet, dass ich schlichtweg vergessen habe, den Schalter umzulegen. Und
that I had forgotten to turn on the switch.
dann kam irgendwann eine interne Untersuchung und dann musste
And then at some point there was an internal investigation. And then I
ich ja
had
zugeben,
to
dass ich
admit
bei über 30 Flügen innerhalb von
that I didn't turn on the can launch, I don't know what that is, on over 30 flights
Europa die
within Europe.
Chemtrailanlage nicht eingeschaltet habe. Ich konnte das mit meinem Gewissen auch einfach nicht vereinbaren.
Durch Christoph W.'s Sabotage blieben in ganz Europa Millionen Menschen gesund, fruchtbar und nicht autistisch. Auch das Wetter.
He couldn't handle it. His conscience wouldn't allow him to do it.
W.'s Sabotage blieben in ganz Europa Millionen Menschen gesund, fruchtbar und nicht autistisch.
What is this saying? Because of Christoph West's sabotage? Because of his sabotage? Millions of
Blieben in
people,
ganz Europa Millionen Menschen
all of Europe remained healthy.
gesund, fruchtbar und nicht
Fertile.
autistisch.
Wow. Okay. Not sure. This is Postilion. So it looks like mainstream media. No, unfortunately, one pilot not doing it doesn't allow the Europeans to be healthy because they have saturated our atmosphere, the air that we breathe. It's so saturated. You need all of them to stop. And I don't believe that they can stop immediately. It's kind of like, I read this article and it just made me think of, like, you should not abruptly stop psychiatric medications because that could lead to severe withdrawals and possibly death. So I was reading this article. That's what, my analogy was. But there was a scientist who was talking about all of the damage that has been done to the atmosphere already. You have to wean, I mean, the earth is kind of like the individual, human being, and it has its natural processes. When you interfere with those natural processes, when you take over those natural processes, as man has done, to try to heal that, you have to kind of wean off all of the geoengineering and certainly all of these electromagnetic frequencies that are also causing the weather to flood and all of the fires, everything. So the damage has been so extensive.
Auch das Wetter in zahlreichen Regionen konnte wegen des 36-Jährigen nicht Termin.
And the weather, they're saying that they couldn't manipulate the weather because of this 36-year-old. Maybe it was interfering some way that I don't know, but
Gerecht manipuliert werden. Für seinen Arbeitgeber Lufthansa eine wirtschaftliche Katastrophe.
Die Lufthansa musste Strafzahlungen in dreistelliger Millionenhöhe an die geheime Weltregierung zahlen.
So apparently Lufthansa had to pay 3-digit million euros in fines to the secret world government. This can't be mainstream media.
Zu dem Ganzen kommt noch, dass sie die Chemtrail-Ausschreibung für das kommende Jahr verloren hat an Ryanair.
Der gekündigte Christoph W. betrachtet seine Entlassung dagegen als unrechtmäßig.
Also in keinem mir bekannten Gesetz steht, dass ein Arbeitgeber sowas von mir verlangen kann. Echt nicht.
Experten räumen der Argumentation des Piloten vor Gericht wenig Chancen ein. Schließlich beruft er sich auf Gesetze der nicht existenten Bundesrepublik Deutschland. Die Vorsitzende Richterin der BRD GmbH dürfte dafür wenig Verständnis aufbringen.
I will link below if anybody wants to click on the link and do a little research for me and send me the information. No description has been added. So we don't know when this was. And if it was recent, then the court case probably will take a while. But if it wasn't, maybe we can get some update. I know that I'm the one posting and I should be doing it. All right, well, I didn't, and I appreciate some help. And yes, of course, Wikipedia. Contrails. Oh, not chemtrails, contrails. And Mike Decker has, well, he posted, did I get off the other one? Yeah. All right. Alaska Airlines turns on the black carbon and/or graphene for geoengineering programs. Yesterday, he had another one, and it was, can't remember what airline. And God, this guy has an incredible camera. I'm jealous. Look at this.
Isn't that just magical?
Disgusting.
Oh, never mind. There it goes. November 22nd, 2024.
Nothing. And then.
Oh, never mind. There it goes.
Something.
November 22nd, 2024.
Now, I think I heard Mike say in a recent video that it was pretty warm where he is for Wyoming at this time of year. When I went out this morning, and I don't know what time it was, 7, 8, I was like, okay, I think it's pretty warm for Idaho this time of year. But what are the skies looking like? Now, even if you feel okay, it does not mean that your body is not reacting to everything that's in the atmosphere, all of the electromagnetic frequencies. So this was the 22nd, yesterday at 10:25. None of this is natural. Shouldn't be there. It should not be there. You see the microwaves, all of the ripples in the sky. That's your evidence that electromagnetic frequencies are in the atmosphere, but they're not just up there. They do come down, and they affect every cell in life. The trees, the plants, the four-leggeds, the two-leggeds, everything. Black carbon dust. And this was at 2:23 p.m. Do you not see the difference in the colors in the sky? Yeah. For those who are clueless, if they had a brain that was operating, they might ask, oh, why do we see one white line and then a black line or a dark gray line? Why do we see different colors? So, am I surprised that it's been rather warm for this time of year? No. Well, look at this. You know, this is a toxic sky. All of the ripples, you know, the circular clouds rippled. You got all of the ripples here. This is at 3:51. That's not a healthy sky. Not a healthy sky at all. Neither is this. Oh. Black carbon. It's an atmospheric heater. Who could possibly think? I mean, it looks like, you know, the sky has been in a fight and it's bruised beyond recognition. All the black carbon dust. But how about today? And you can see this black carbon, you know, it's throughout the atmosphere. Let's see. And this was also got screwed up, but this apparently was on the 21st. But, you know, it's very evident that all of this is black carbon dust. You know, it should not be there. You know, well, others, you see the lithium beginning to show its face, all of the ripples in the sky. So, not to say that they're not spraying that graphene oxide. This was this morning at 8:16. You see, this should not be there. The horizon to horizon cloud is also a new phenomenon. I don't remember ever seeing horizon to horizon cloud coverage, thick cloud coverage for the first couple of decades of my life. Look at this. So it was like 44 degrees. Look at all of that. Black carbon dust, the ripple effect. They use the microwaves to also spread all of what is in the atmosphere. But this thick cloud coverage, so this is the town 20 minutes away, and it was so friggin' windy. It wasn't windy at all where we came from, and it was incredibly cold. So, yeah, and then you see the waves in the clouds, the twisting clouds right here. And there's the wind. So, when you have a population that the majority just don't even have curiosity Look at this huge wave in the cloud. And this was sawed off right here. And then it began to extend, so I couldn't get it fast enough, but it was a straight line. And then the ripple effect. All right, well, as far as I'm concerned, what is happening, certainly in the sky, should beg questions in everybody's mind. Did I put Mike's link in? There it is. So, they won't pay. Okay. I really hope that you don't have to face this. I really hope that you don't have to face your house being destroyed by the weather terrorists and then having to fight like hell with your insurance company, and your insurance, well, it's just not paying. They come up with these inane excuses to not pay. Like you heard in one of the live streams recently, someone in Western North Carolina was denied by their insurance company because the water was moving. Okay.
Here in Florida, the state-run insurer paid homeowners' claims less often than any other insurer in the state last year. Over half of the claimants receiving nothing.
If you have Citizens Insurance, you are less likely to get your claims paid out. A new report out today says Citizens now has the worst rate of paying out claims in the state.
So imagine that you pay for your insurance every year and it's constantly going up, but then they don't pay out when the time has come.
Well, this new report says that Citizens has the worst rate when it comes to paying claims. In fact, they say that in the last year, there were 17,000 policies that were submitted, and of those, just over 50% were denied.
That is a big fear of mine, and it seems like every year my insurance goes up. Mine, I just got dropped by Citizens, and we're going to talk about that in this video of what everybody's experiencing.
That data comes from Citizens' annual report.
The fact that we would be denying a higher percentage of claims is not surprising.
I just got word from somebody that's been down in South Florida, Central Florida, and he happens to be a guy trying to sell roofs. So I know this is firsthand information, that it's really a matter right now of adjusters even returning the calls of the people filing the claim, especially for Citizens, that their house got destroyed. They put in their claim and they haven't been paid out. In this video, you heard them talk about there are not enough people in the Citizens echo chamber to actually go through all the claims. And when you get denied, there's no tracking really of how and why you got denied. And that's the frustrating part too. Is it a clerical error?
Hey, listen.
These commercials drive me nuts, and you can't speed them up. So I'm going to post the link. Yeah, Citizens. So you would think that the state insurer, right, might be a little bit better than the private insurers. No. Citizens, yeah. And I don't know about any other state insurer. California's state insurer, I can't remember the name of it, but they too are dropping people. So what we used to there, you can listen to the full video, and he does put out some very good information. Yak Motley. You actually, your insurance companies, you should call and ask them to put in writing what they will cover and what they will not. So an insurance company, well, who had flood insurance, but They wouldn't cover. They denied her claim because the water was moving. So you should try to get in writing what your insurance companies will do and won't do. And don't let them say, just read your policy. Because they sure do come up with an awful lot that doesn't even exist in the policy, and it doesn't matter. That's where we're at today. So, and building shelters for Hurricane Helene victims. Good on them. And I hope that it works and people can be housed in them. We'll get to that in a moment.
We're trying to bring people in North Carolina hope in the form of these buildings.
Curtis Fink, the founder of Godspeed South Carolina, is rounding up volunteers to build what he calls survival sheds for families in western North Carolina impacted by Hurricane Helene. 12 shelters from Lexington County will be transported up to Buncombe County, North Carolina. There they'll be distributed based on need. These structures are built for up to 2 people.
You've got different locations that are building these shelters. Some were built in Edgefield like about 4 weeks ago. We're building them here. There's another group that wants to build some down around Santee. I'm just glad to see the public coming together and the churches and the businesses. And, you know, it's taken a community effort. So it's not just us, but I'm glad to be part of it.
The structures are insulated with the goal to keep families warm and safe during the winter up in the mountains.
We're giving them a weather type package. We're thinking along terms of, you know, like a small Mr. Buddy heater or a small heater. It's got 2 plugs in each one. You got a light switch and an LED light. Of course, you know, 1 window for ventilation, but basically it's meant for 2 people to exist.
Fink tells me he's partnered with his local church, Covenant Baptist, and Cabins for Christ to help build the 10 by 15 structures.
Most of what you see here is donations. And like I said, whether it's corporations or local churches, we've had people as far as, you know, Ridgeland, you know, West Columbia, you know, all over Lexington.
Volunteers from all ages and parts of the Midlands are rolling up their sleeves for the cause.
I can teach you how to nail in a board, you know. I can teach you how to paint these walls, but I can't teach people empathy. And empathy has to be...
Just in case you missed that, I can't teach people empathy. Yeah. Unfortunately, in order to get genuine empathy within your soul, you have to do a lot of work on yourself to get yourself out of, yeah, I'm full of shit. Yeah. And a whole lot of Americans are. And I was. This is how we're brought up in our fabulous American culture, you know, to lie, to put on a mask when you're outside, yeah, we got to get rid of all of the pretense. And when you start, you know, shedding all of the indoctrination, the inculcation, the bullshit living, that's when it was a really profound experience for me to recognize, wow, the difference between genuine and the bullshit of me saying, oh, yeah, I care. Okay. It's quite extraordinary. So, yes, empathy is a big missing puzzle piece in this country. Now, the reason why I said in the very beginning, hopefully these shelters will work. All right, Truthstream Media just posted today. So enforcing 2018 building codes on temporary housing for North Carolina hurricane victims who lost everything is safer than allowing people who lost their homes to freeze to death in the winter. the code enforcers. Let's see. Mitchell County, North Carolina. Notice to local volunteers for temporary housing. If you are a local volunteer working to bring in temporary housing to support our community, we want to first thank you for your efforts and commitment. Please remember that any temporary housing installations must comply with North Carolina's building and health codes to ensure safety and well-being for all. Before moving forward, please consult with local officials and relevant departments to verify that all installations are up to code. Temporary shelters and dwellings that fail to meet the minimum requirements of the 2018 North Carolina State Building Code are inherently unsafe for occupancy. But trying to stay alive in a tent, you know, when the temperatures drop and it's snowing and it's windy. Oh, it's getting very windy here. That came out of nowhere. So the building may not comply with life safety and weather protection standards, such as proper fire protection safety measures, sanitation, insulation, waterproofing measures, which are crucial for safety and comfort. Moreover, unstable soil conditions, particularly in areas where flooding has occurred, need to be evaluated. Topsoil is likely saturated with water. Well, having seen an awful lot of these people who are providing the RVs, providing the tiny homes, they have people coming and, you know, with an awful lot of gravel and stuff, and they're leveling the spots and they're grading the spots. It's better than being homeless. This is when the people need to step up and say, to hell with your codes. These people need housing. Wow. So they're saying if they can't meet all of the codes and regulations and everything, that they should not be occupied even temporarily. How do you do this? How do you do this to people? Especially now. Especially now. Building and health code. Why isn't North Carolina, with their rebuild program, now they're asking for $25 billion from the residents to help rebuild North Carolina? Well, so much of that money has been stolen, and I'm working off the live that I posted yesterday. They finally got rid of, what's her name? Laura Hogshead or something, who was the head of this program, and people from having been the victims of 2 other hurricanes, and they're still living in hotels. and they don't. 6 years later. God, do the people need to stand up? I mean, it's really quite pathetic. And listen to this. Chimney Rock Village Town Council meeting on the 19th, right? Very hard. The audio is really bad. They do have captions, but if you notice, some of the words they speak, the caption doesn't quite match. But FEMA can't help the resident, the people who are desperate for help, but they can pay $288,000 for a gate and armed security to block Chimney Rock and the road the West Virginia boys made. They're blocking Chimney Rock, telling, they decide for themselves who's going to be coming into Chimney Rock and who won't. Armed security guards, 24/7. Something going on? I'd say so. Yeah, and one of the women, this is, I think 6 minutes. Yeah, 6 minutes and 18 seconds. And they do have a question from one woman who says, can we do something about getting water into Chimney Rock? No. But they can pay $288,000 for the armed security guards. Look, it couldn't be more obvious that we are the enemy of government. They don't give a shit about us. They treat us like we are the scum of the earth, and apparently Americans are, I guess, fine with that. So I'm going to play some of this, see if you can catch what they say, but the link is in the chat, and it's probably better that you click on the link and set your volume. Maybe you have earbuds or whatever. We had an arrangement with FEMA to help us put in 2 gates on the road that volunteers from West Virginia came down to get that road set so that people in Chimney Rock would have access to their homes and back out. Now we're going to put up a gate.
But DOT was able to press forward, and they did put in they put a gate in, and it was literally based on GPS, almost right on the county line. We've got to stop people coming in. We've got disaster.
We've got to stop people coming in. We've got disaster tourism. We've got people there. We've got people there who have no business being over there. Who are those people? The volunteers?
Some guy was very proud and announced that he felt like he wanted to work on that fence, apparently. So sometime over midnight, he sawed it off to the ground and tossed it to the, hopefully, the message will be sent and clear when Henderson County authorities interview the individual who helped us with that gate. The next thing is the actual contract. Move into that.
All right, so they start talking about the security that they're hiring. Oh, man. But here this woman is talking about, can't we get water?
Economic Development and Economic Creation Task Force, whereas the entire villages had to be sealed and protected by law enforcement and security protection.
I would sincerely beg this council.
Sincerely beg the council. Begging. You're begging your tax dollars that you pay their salaries. You're the boss. You are the boss, not them.
To highly consider getting water to, whether it's temporary, whether it's a pipe spanning across the river, whatever way, to Southside.
How friggin' sad. All right, the link again is in the chat. But people have left comments. They're not happy with this, so yeah. So the man that posted this said that they said their answer to her was that it would be frivolous, but the auto caption didn't capture it correctly. What are the reasons for needed security? What are the problems that led to the need for security? Not clear. They claim property owners were threatened by the miners who put the road in, those guys from West Virginia. Really? I think they were busy getting a road to Chimney Rock that was workable, accessible. Yeah, they threatened property owners. Wow. So, and here, this woman writes, see, this is what drives me nuts, because when they're posting this, they don't leave any link or anything to substantiate, to try to verify what they're saying. Breaking news, Fox News raised $10 million for the Red Cross for Hurricane Helene victims, and none of that money has reached the victims in North Carolina. Now, because I did the research on Red Cross, that doesn't surprise me, because I've done the research on a whole lot of these weather events, certainly Hurricane Harvey. Wow, the celebrities came out and they were all sitting next to one another, answering phones. Oh, thank you for your donation. Thank you. Thank you. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in donations, and nothing went to the victims. Okay, this happens over and over and over again. That's why I have said, do not donate to Red Cross. All right. But she also says that Salvation Army, the same person, Wendy Patterson, said that Salvation Army and Samaritan's Purse have also just taken the money and run without any evidence that they actually did that. So I know that Samaritan Purse is still there, working hard. And she says all they're doing is cutting down trees. That is not true. That is not true for Samaritan's Purse. They're doing a lot more than just cutting down trees. So it's upsetting to see these kinds of comments. Anyway, and yeah, so if you don't have a hurricane, if you don't have massive flooding from atmospheric rivers, you have this. And this has happened throughout the years. Oh, wow, people, there's a flood in an apartment complex, and then too bad for you, you gotta find another place to live.
Us are ready to begin the holiday season. Some uptown area residents are scrambling to deal with their ruined apartments. You see, a busted pipe It sent water everywhere, even down the elevator shafts. And residents say they're not getting any help from management. Trayson Bragg has the big headache in a story that's all new at 6.
I thought it was a Twilight Zone happening.
It's a scene straight out of a disaster film.
Water coming from the elevator, splooshing out. The water was just rising. It was crazy.
And sadly, it's the reality Marquise and many of his neighbors at the Gables Post Oak apartments were forced to live through when a large pipe burst in the complex early in the morning last Friday.
I don't even know how to swim. I was like, what if it gets higher? Like, what am I supposed to do? So I really did get scared.
7 days later, the scene is still chaotic and the smell in the air is pungent.
This is actually better because the smell was even more rancid than it is now.
Marquise lives on the first floor and tells me, like many of his neighbors, his floors were completely soaked for days.
And water came up to about that? Yeah, the water came up to about right here.
The flooding ruined his mattress, soaked all sorts of clothes, and worst of all, destroyed electronics like the camera equipment and drone he uses to earn a living. As for the response from property management,
and to be treated like this, it's inhumane.
So besides the obvious inconveniences, many of the residents I spoke to today also have concerns over their health. Residents say they're especially worried about mold, and some, like Marquise, say property management won't let them break their lease or even discount next month's rent. We heard the same thing from resident Aaron Brown.
Like, you turn our apartment into SeaWorld, you ruined my mattress, and now, you don't have the decency. It's just honestly very disrespectful.
Other neighbors like Carla Dunez have a different but potentially bigger problem, receiving this letter explaining their lease has been canceled and they have 7 days to vacate the property.
It's been frustrating. It's been depressing. I don't know what to do at this point.
Get out. This is happening all over the country. Whatever the reason is, people are literally just receiving notice. Get out. You got 7 days. You got, 30 days. Good luck, finding a place. It is, yeah. We're going to do more topics next week. The economy. Oh boy, my bookmark file is getting very, very long on Trump, economy, migrants, crime. Interesting. That's a bookmark file. And there's one other. Well, weather. Right. So we're going down, she says with a smile on her face. So we all need to stand up, certainly for one another, right? All right. Great video by Brush Junkie. What's causing these weird fire burn patterns in California and Maui? Forensic arborist explains, and I can't remember his name, but it's definitely a video that needs to be circulated because who she's interviewing is very clear, very simple, and the pictures that he's showing, people can learn that these are not natural fires, and that's what we want, right? Yeah. Okay.
The information that you've collected, and I know you're familiar with, kind of what I've been reporting on.
Right.
So, and I know you have a lot of great images, so I'll let you.
Yeah. Out of all these aftermaths, these 43, perhaps 3 or maybe 4 were natural occurring fires that we know.
Okay, so a whole lot are not naturally occurring fires. No, the use of the technology, weaponized technology to destroy. And when you see these pictures, how could you possibly think anything but this doesn't happen in a natural wildfire.
That I might have seen somewhere in the high Sierra. Generally, in 50 years backpacking the whole Sierra at all elevations, maybe I've seen one forest fire, and it never chased us out of the mountains. Now they shut down the Pacific Crest Trail, close huge areas, and burn up to 1 million acres statewide. Every year it's the same thing. So it piqued my interest 7 years ago when I saw some pictures of Santa Rosa, and they didn't make sense to me. Anyway, my background is studying all wildflowers, ferns, shrubs, vines, and trees. And mostly natives, but in the last 33 years, everything imported to California, I've learned a great deal of plants. That's what I've always done. So I'm going to share my screen here. Does that fill up the page well?
Mm-hmm.
So I like to start with this photo because people are wondering what a real forest fire looks like.
Yeah.
People in the city have no clue. This is common for a horrific firestorm. This is what's left. They all look like this. There's nothing left. Perhaps this was a year or two before because the plant life's growing back already. But it burns the twigs, the needles, the branches, even the trees will burn down, sometimes to a low stump or even a hole in the ground. This is what a common one looks like to me. Not like this one. This is there'll be some photographs in my showing here that are from the air. None of those are mine.
What you are looking at, Santa Rosa, all of these gray marks, these are all houses that have been leveled to dust. Okay? Leveled to dust. Look at all of the trees. They're fine.
They're all from various people. I just borrow them off the internet. This was the big Coffee Park fire in Santa Rosa in 2017, where 4,700 homes were turned to white ash. Incidentally, when I get to these locations, it's rare I find any blackened wood. Normal house fires, put them out. There's always a degree of black and carbon. And here, no. I've been to a lot of aftermaths now, and none of them had a house that had any, well, it was almost all white. Rare to find black.
Okay, why is that? Why is everything reduced to white ash versus?
Well, I'm going to have to say it's because of the extreme heat, but that's my educated guess. It's a different kind of flame. To me, these are microwave-based flames. It's in that arena. I don't know the composition of these flames, but they don't work very well in organic material. The organic material dries out, turns a light shade of green, maybe even brown, but it never really burns up like a normal forest fire, unless it's in really close proximity to any metal or even water, like a creek, riparian corridors. I've noticed those trees will be decimated also. And I believe that's just the water is a conduit for these electrical weaponry, for lack of a better term.
Directed energy weaponry. I do have a and I'm going to put the link in a video, military document on directed energy weapons and what those directed energy weapons can do. They can vaporize. They can literally vaporize you and material. And destruction to scale. Precision destruction. So where is it? All right. Directed energy weapons, fires.
Hey guys, God bless.
Unfortunately, the links that I used to leave all of the time, when they finally gave me my channel back, Never Lose Truth, the links are gone. So and you can get to the documents if they're still available, because a whole lot has been put down the memory hole. Well, here's another video. Directed energy weapons, blow torches, precision flamethrowers, dust collected after test, and more. Okay. Here, this is the video. So, effects of directed energy weapons proves the melting, vaporization, damage to scale. Where was I? But there are other videos on that playlist that about, well, obviously it's a directed energy weapon playlist. There are 117 videos. But wow, this document right here, if anybody wants to do a search, effects of directed energy weapons, it's quite the document that with all of the different weapons that they have, they in this document pretty much detail what kinds of destruction they can bring about, like what you're looking at right here.
I mean, here's Santa Rosa. This was a firestorm. They told the public the fire was moving 8 or 9 football fields a minute. And look at the trees. Why aren't they missing along with the houses? Many of these are pine family relatives. Eucalyptus against that road there, or whatever that is, against the road. Those are eucalyptus back there, the round ones. Those are so flammable. A cigarette lighter in your hand can light those on fire. A green leaf, light them right on fire. And I've not seen that in all the aftermaths. I don't find eucalyptus trees burned up. That's some strange.
Is that why in Maui the boats? Is that why you think all the boats burned on the water?
Yes, whoever's directing these weapons, they might go to the right or left farther than they need to, or whatever. But that's what I believe got the boats. I don't believe flying ashes went out there and lit these boats on fire. I believe there's a lot of metals on the boats, and that's actually what was combusting. The reaction that the microwave technology has on the metals, whether they're ferrous or not. I don't believe they're flying an Ember story at all.
Yeah.
This is another one of Coffee Park, and you just take a good look. Show me the burned trees. Show me the forest fire. Incidentally, most news channels are deleting the word forest now. They just call them wildfires.
Right.
Right.
Oh my gosh. But this is the first one I ever saw 7 years ago. And the first thing I saw is, well, why are these trees like this? I was going to hike up there in one of the hills, and this came up on my Google Images. Showed my brother, we talked about it, and nothing made sense. So I went up there 2 months later, and my eyes fell out of my head. Nothing was normal. I was up there 8 hours for a good year.
Santa Rosa right here too, right? Santa Rosa.
What's that?
Is it Santa Rosa right here?
Yes, Santa Rosa, the Coffee Park area, a big development.
Okay.
Somewhere in the next 6 months or a year, I finally found a video where somebody saw what I did. That's John Lord, the fire captain, and Matt Dakin. They analyzed Paradise 3 different times and did 5 videos with Shelley. All 3 are friends of mine now. And sadly, we lost John Lord about 2 years ago. Various problems with his health. 2 great people. Together, they have 60 combined years of fire service, both fire captains. Yeah, and that's 7 years ago. So I started studying materials. What are the melting points of all these materials?
Okay, so I'm going to post the link again, but that anyone could look at this. See, all of the trees are fine. There's also no soot or discoloration in the roads, and every house brought to dust, everything gone. Really? This 4,700 homes. This is just one of the California fires. But if you look back, this whole area Every house brought to dust. Come on. You know, when we see fires, even wildfires, there's, you know, parts of the house still existing and things in the house, all of the metal stoves and the porcelain tubs, and not anymore. Everything disappears and dust remains. That really should open people's eyes. You know? Ah, man. Okay, well, the link is in the chat again, but he goes through all of what he has seen, then the research, and then, yeah, wildfires or forest fires don't melt glass, you know, the windshields of cars, all of the metal. Can't even tell what kind of car this is, but he also goes through, look, he knows what kind of trees these are. And he talks about how flammable some of the trees are, but they're still standing untouched while everything in the house is gone. And then this supposed wildfire leapt over the trees and got another house to dust. But here, what, you know, anyone just even looking, you know, at this foliage would know that just a cigarette lighter would turn this into flames. People are really suffering, okay? They're really suffering from all of the destruction that they have experienced from incredibly evil people who are bringing all of this in. That's why we need a good army, right? We definitely need a good army, soldiers. And they are few and far between, unfortunately. So, hey, your community needs help. Community members in your community need help. And you want to bring change? That's how we do it. That's how we do it. The food banks are hurting. The animal shelters are hurting. They're filled with pets. If you can foster, then foster. But you can pick up extra food when you're shopping. You can pick up extra pet food when you're shopping and donate it to the local food bank, to the animal shelters. Check in on the elderly that you have. Don't wait to be asked. Just extend yourself, especially to people that you know are hurting. And yeah, we need to work every single day on being better people. And on that note, I say to you, thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow, and be safe. Just be safe. Be safe. Ciao, guys.